Welcome back to my channel, everyone. Today I am going to be doing a review of Dust by Kara Swanson. I wanted to interject here to tell you about a really cool fundraiser that I am a part of this year, and it is called Dressember. And the point of Dressember is that for the whole month, you wear a dress or guys wear a tie, and then when people ask you about why you're doing this, you can tell them about the fundraiser. All of the funds that get raised during December for this, and possibly throughout the rest of the year, this is my first year doing it, so I still don't know everything, but they do go towards fighting against human trafficking, which is so important. It might not seem like it is, you might not have people in your lives who have been trafficked, or you might not hear about it very often, but it is a really big problem in the world and in the US even. So the point of the Dressember Foundation is to raise funds to then give to different organizations who can help to pull people out of situations that they're in, wherever they are, take them out of those really bad situations, and then get them situated on their own and help them start a new life. So you can donate money that specifically pays for some counseling for the survivors of these horrible things. It is a really incredible foundation, and it's really, really simple too. Like, honestly, it's fun for me. I thought it was going to be really, really difficult to wear a dress for the entire month, especially living where I do, where it gets really, really cold. But it's been really fun so far. I'm only on day 4, but I've been having a lot of fun. And donating is really easy too. I will leave a link down below to my page, but you can also just check out the foundation. I will leave a link to the actual website as well, just leave a link down there. But you can just go there and donate whatever page you want to donate to, and you can donate whatever amount you want to, as far as I know. I mean, they do have specific slots, like $30, $45, $100, whatever, but then you can also choose to donate a specific amount. Like, I donated $15 when I set up my page, and I plan to donate a couple more times throughout this month and just kind of spread it out a little bit and donate a little bit more. But whatever you can donate will be so helpful. Even a couple dollars, because if 10 people do $2, that's $20. If 100 people do $2, that's $200 that is going to this foundation and going to help get people out of really bad situations. And it's such a simple thing, really is. So if you want to join and start your own page or join a team or something and wear a dress or a tie for the rest of December, I don't see why you couldn't just start that now. I mean, if you missed out the first week or so, that's okay. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to just join in now. And if you can't because of, a uniform you have to wear for a job or whatever else, if you just can't this year, then please consider at least donating, because, like I said, it is such an important cause, and it is so simple too. Just donating a little bit can really, really help. So please consider it. I think it's really important, and I just wanted to share here as well. And I will be posting every day this month with the dress that I'm wearing and a little bit about Dressember. So if you want to see that, check out my Instagram, which I will also link down below. That's where I will be proving that I'm wearing a dress every day. Not that you really have to prove it, but like I said, it's kind of a fun thing for me. So I really, really hope that you will consider checking this out, and please donate as well. None of the money goes to anybody involved. Anybody involved in this challenge, like me. None of the money goes to the people that are just wearing a dress every day. That's not the point. The point is to get money to different organizations that can help get people out of the human trafficking situations. So please donate. If you have already, thank you so much. That's so amazing. And if you're going to, thank you. And like I said, donate whatever you can, even if it's just a couple dollars. It can make a big difference. If even a few people donate a couple dollars, it can really add up. So don't think that since you can only donate, $1 or $5 or $10, don't think that that doesn't mean anything, because it really, really does. And it can be such a blessing to these people. That's just my announcement right here that I wanted to put in. Thank you so much for listening, and please enjoy the rest of the video. I just finished this book. It'll be a little over a week ago by the time I upload this video. And yes, I have been reading it for a very, very long time. I'm a slow reader. I have had a lot of other things going on, and I don't often think to read a book during my downtime all the time. There's usually other things I want to do, and books just are not my go-to downtime thing or my go-to fun thing when I have a little bit of extra time. So it takes me a really, really long time to get through a book unless it's something that really, really captivates me and I get really, really pulled into. Like, there have definitely been books where I couldn't put them down, and every free second I had, I read them. Most books are not that way for me. It's just how things are. I'm not a big reader, but I did finally finish Dust yesterday. So I'm very glad to have finished it. I did really like it. Can't wait for Shadow to come out, and I guess I'll just get into the review. I'm going to go through the positives of the book, which there are plenty of positives, but there were also a few negatives for me, so I will be going over the negatives at the end. Also, I'm kind of channeling Claire, the main character from the book. She wears cardigans. I've got some pixie dust. That's just because it's Peter Pan-ish. Yeah, if you didn't know, Dust is a Peter Pan retelling type book. And I love Peter Pan. I love anything having to do with Peter Pan. I have this awesome Peter Pan beanie that a friend got me. I love it. I really do. Almost wore it for this, but it just really did not fit the outfit, and I decided to go with something a little bit like sweeter. This is just kind of, I can imagine Claire, in something like this. Maybe not the makeup so much. The blue eyeshadow was for Wendy from the original Peter Pan story. Anyway, I'm just gonna get into the positives about the book. So as I mentioned, I really love Peter Pan, and I love anything having to do with Peter Pan. I have watched a bunch of the different Peter Pan retelling movies, and I loved the Peter Pan segment in the Once Upon a Time show. I loved it. Love anything to do with Peter Pan. Like I said, I got my pixie dust and a little fairy. I don't know, she's gonna chill with me. Put her up here. So yeah, anything Peter Pan related or fairy related, I absolutely love. So that was why I bought the book in the first place, was just because it's a Peter Pan retelling and I had to have it. And I really did end up loving it. I loved the story. Kara Swanson had a really, really cool idea for this. I'm not going to give too much away. I mean, it is a review, so I might give away a few things, but I try not to give any spoilers, and I don't do summaries when I do my reviews. I just tell you what I liked and what I didn't like, and that's it. It won't be giving a whole lot of detail, but I really did love it. I loved the idea that she had, and really unique and interesting and just great. Really, really great. Kara Swanson's characters are always great. I read The Girl Who Could See by her, and I loved her characters, and I loved that story. And I loved the characters in Dust just as much. Something that I really commend Kara Swanson on is her portrayal of Peter. From the very first chapter, from the first few sentences even that he's introduced, I absolutely loved him, and I thought she did such an amazing job. Like, that is how Peter should be portrayed. He was just incredible. Fun-loving, always looking for a game or fun, something exciting, but he's also kind of selfish and self-centered and really only cares about himself. And he does go through a lot of growth in the book. And as you get to know him more, there's more to him than just, a selfish boy who didn't want to grow up. But that is a really big part of Peter's character in the original story, and Kara did a really, really great job. I really loved it. The whole entire time, I was like, yes, this is Peter. This is him. Like, it was perfect. So spot on. So very spot on when it came to Peter, and I really appreciated that. I mean, he wasn't as young as maybe he is in J.M. Barrie's story, but everything else was just perfect. So I really, really did love Peter. And I loved Claire too. I think of her as kind of more innocent and sweet, which is kind of why I thought, the headband was appropriate. And I do think of her as very sweet, but she's not super innocent. She's gone through some things, and she can be very strong when she needs to be. And I really loved her. She was a great main character. She was a great protagonist. I really did like her. But she's also not perfect, and that's wonderful as well. Characters should never be perfect. So she's not perfect, and she makes some decisions that are not really best, but she thinks they're best. She thinks that they fit her interests. She thinks they're the best thing overall, even if the reader knows that's not really true. Kara always does a good job in her stories of keeping them action-packed and keeping them moving along, which is something I really appreciate. If a story does not move along quickly enough, I get bored very easily. So her stories do generally keep you interested, and Dust was no different. There are always little skirmishes or, little action scenes happening when you least expect them sometimes, and they help to keep things moving along and keep you interested. The last few chapters were full of questions. I felt like there was one of two ways things could really go, and things didn't really end up going the way I thought they would. So for the last few chapters, I kept waiting for, the definite answer to how things would be. It's like, all right, this is going to end one of two ways. Claire can make one of two decisions. I just have to wait and find out what those are. And then I thought that it was going one way, and Kara completely switched it around. And it really didn't end the way that I thought it would, and that was amazing because it ended really well still, and it sets up the second book really well. But it just wasn't expected. And I think that's always great. I don't think endings should really be super expected. With certain types of books, I mean, you're always going to get certain endings, and sometimes you can't help it. But if there's any way that an author can put a twist in at the end and just throw the reader, I think that's amazing. So I did really like the last few chapters and a very unexpected ending. Oh, and then in the final chapter, there was totally unexpected revelation about one of the characters. I did not see this coming. I knew that something was up with this character, but really did not expect the truth. So yeah, I really cannot wait to see how the next book is. I almost said the next episode. I can't wait for the next book, and I can't wait to see what Kara does with it and to see how the story continues on and I think ends. I don't know for sure that Kara doesn't have plans for another book. I'm pretty sure Shadow is the last one. I think it's just a duology, but I could be totally wrong. Maybe she has plans for more books in this series. But as far as I know right now, it's just Dust and Shadow. But I can't wait to see what she does in Shadow. Okay, so those are my positives for this book. So, the plot was really great. The characters, her timing is generally very good. I really did love Peter. Like, there are a lot of things that I really, really did love about this book. But now let's get into the negatives, because there are also a few negatives. And there are almost always going to be negatives in a book. It's just the way that things are. Some people like things that other people don't like, and that's just how things go. So these were the things that I didn't really like, or that I just didn't think were as good as they could have been, or whatever. So really the only negative for me was something about Kara's writing style. And that was one of the reasons that it took me so long to finish the book. I didn't always want to pick it up and keep reading because something about her writing just always seemed to bog me down. Like, I really loved the characters and I loved the plot, and Kara does keep it moving along, and it's full of action, and she writes really good stories. They're really amazing stories. But I think her writing could be better. And people may disagree with me, and that's okay. You're entitled to your own opinions, and I don't know everything about writing, but I do know a bit, and I do think that Kara's writing could be improved. That being said, there are parts of her writing or certain aspects of her writing that are incredible. One being imagery. Kara is incredible at writing imagery, and I noticed that in The Girl Who Could See as well. I loved some of the scenes because they were just beautiful, beautiful imagery. Incredible. And she's very good at describing things and putting you right in a setting, and just her imagery really is beautiful, and I do love it. But I think the core of her writing could be a little bit better. I'm not sure if that's exactly how I want to say that, but I don't really know how to say what I mean. I just feel like sometimes her sentences could be varied quite a bit more. She has a lot of sentences that are structured the same way, where it's subject, verb, and then the rest of the sentence, and the next sentence is exactly the same. Sentence, verb, rest of the sentence. And that's not to say that she doesn't vary her writing at all. She does. She does have sentences that are structured differently, and, different lengths, and the things that you're supposed to do, varying your sentences so that it's not boring and so that there is variation. I need a different word. So she does do that. She does mix things up a little bit, but I think she could mix things up a little bit more. Pretty much any time, if I really thought about it, I would notice that her sentences were for the most part, the same. And it just made it harder for me to get through it. I don't know if other people have noticed that about her writing. I think I noticed it in The Girl Who Could See as well. I didn't say anything about it in my last review, and I'm not really sure why, but I definitely did notice it more in this because it was a full-length novel, and it did take me longer to get through because I don't know, that really lessened the book for me. And it's not a big deal. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with the story, but it is important to be able to write in a way that people are going to enjoy. People have to enjoy reading what you've written. And for me, part of what makes something enjoyable for me is that the writing is really good. I will again bring up the Daughter of Smoke and Bone trilogy. I loved that series, and not just because I loved the characters and I loved the story, but because I love Laini Taylor's writing. It was so spectacular. Like, I have not read anything even near that quality since. She really spoiled me because it was incredible. And I don't think I noticed other authors' writing until reading that series because it was just so good. And now I am looking for something that is on that same tier, and I have yet to find it. Except for maybe Pirate Latitudes by Michael Crichton. I did really enjoy that. And I didn't really find too much about the writing that I didn't like. But that is just something that I'm trying to keep in mind about Kara Swanson's writing. I'm definitely going to be buying Shadow when it comes out, and I can't wait to see how that is and to see maybe if her writing has changed at all in that. She probably wrote it very soon after writing Dust, so I don't know if it will be any different. But in the future, that would be something that I think would be amazing, is if she grew a little bit more as a writer and could mix it up a little bit, just improve her writing style a little bit. And that's just my opinion again, and I know that my book was nowhere near perfect, and I definitely could improve so much about my writing as well. So I'm not saying that I'm perfect and I have nothing to work on. I do have things to work on, but everyone does. And in my opinion, this is something that Kara could work on. Doesn't make Dust any less of an amazing book because it was still amazing. It just made it a little bit harder for me to get through because I just kept seeing that. And you know, once you notice something like that, it really stands out to you. So it did just stand out to me on every page almost, where I just thought that it could have been a little bit better. There was actually one other negative for me that I forgot about. The climax didn't really feel supernatural to me. I don't know how to say this. It was a good climax, and you know, once it got into it, it was good. I just felt like this switch from Kara trusting Peter to not trusting him was a bit awkward to me because she had already learned something about him before this. Spoilers incoming, not huge spoilers, but just warning spoilers. So I feel like Claire had already learned beforehand that Peter was lying to her, but she just tried to push that away and ignore it. So then in the climax scene, or what I'm going to call the climax, I'm pretty sure it's the climax, but I'm really horrible at knowing the different points of a story. But anyway, in the climax, when she finally stops trusting Peter, it was because she, you know, finally accepted that he lied to her, but it just seemed like it should have been something bigger that made that switch happen. And it just seemed a little bit forced to me, or a little bit awkward. I don't know. I was reading it and I was like, wait, why are you now not trusting him? Like, you've been trusting him and you've known this about him, but decided to ignore it. And now you're going to accept it? Why? So, I don't know. I feel like something bigger could have happened. And something did happen to switch it. It wasn't like she just all of a sudden was like, you know what, I'm going to decide to accept this. No, something did happen. I just feel like it should have been something bigger. And again, that's just my opinion. Maybe it just didn't impact me the way it should have. Maybe I didn't read it right. I don't know. If you've read Dust, let me know what you thought. You probably know the scene I'm talking about without me saying too much about it. The scene where they're on the ship. There you go. So let me know what you thought, because maybe I'm being totally unreasonable, but to me, it just could have been something bigger. Again, not a huge negative, just something that seemed a little bit off. Everything else was fine. Everything else was great, and I did really enjoy it. So that is my review for Dust. I'm not giving summaries. I don't give summaries. If you want a summary, check it out on Amazon. Read the summary there. I'm really horrible at giving summaries and synopses, so I don't. I just tell you my positives and my negatives from reading the book, and that's it. I'm not interested in giving away plot lines or anything else, just what I liked and didn't like. So that's what I liked and didn't like about Dust. Most of it I really loved. Just a couple things that threw me, I guess. And if you have read Dust, let me know what you thought. And if you have any Peter Pan retellings, any suggestions, please, please comment them down below, because right now I have this and I have J.M. Barrie's Peter Pan, and that's it. And I would love to get more really good Peter Pan retellings. I'm just really cheap, so I haven't bought any. But let me know what you thought, and if you have any video ideas, please let me know, because right now the only consistent ideas that I have are book reviews, but I read super slowly, so those are going to be a little bit difficult to keep up with unless I can force myself to read more, which is going to be difficult. So let me know if you have any video suggestions. Let me know what you think of the videos. Please like, share, subscribe, comment. I love comments, I really do, and I try to get back to them. It's pretty easy, but it sometimes takes me a couple days, but I will get back to comments. I really love comments, so let me know what you think, and I guess that's it. I hope everyone has had a good holiday week, and I will see you in the next video. Have a blessed day.